Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Killer Collab Podcast. Once again, my name is Tone Deaf from Florida. As always, I'm joined with Chris Lato from Reaper Films.
How y'all doing?
How you doing, buddy? You doing okay? So good morning.
Doing good.
Good morning. And ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce a very, very special person, special in my heart, Felissa Rose. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. You're so sweet. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, we try to be sweet in here, try to get people to come back. That's the thing. No, but it is definitely absolute pleasure to have you on the show today. I've been watching you since you were a kid. I may not look how old I am, but I am pretty old. So.
Oh, you're a kid. What are you
I'm the old one.
talking about?
Yeah, Chris behind me is the ancient one. We call him that. No, we don't. But as ladies and gentlemen, if you don't recognize her, a lot of you have probably been introduced to her as Angela Baker in the original Sleepaway Camp. I don't want to talk that to death, but it's one of my favorites as always. But she does have a very long and very successful film career as well. So she has a lot of things to work on. This year, because 2021 looks like you have like 7 or 8 releases coming out this year. Did I see that correctly?
Independent horror movie.
Yeah, there you go. That's very hold dear in our hearts. Our horror movies, our independent movies, right, Chris?
Yeah, for sure. So you're in Sorority of the Damned, which is a local filmmaker here. Actually, Joe Davison is going to be on the show next week. And, friends with Joe, and he's a really good guy.
Can I just say one thing
about
Jeff? I love that man. Like, in this amazing industry and the convention life where I get to meet so many beautiful people, friends from the industry and friends who come to hang out at the convention. Joe Davison is one of those people that the moment I met him, we were like instant BFFs.
Like best buddies.
I just love him. Is he not the most electric, exciting, phenomenally talented, just a beautiful person? I feel so grateful to have that man in my life. I love him. I just had to get that out.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Joe.
Very good guy.
And wait till you see that movie.
Yeah, the movie looks fun.
Incredible.
I can't wait for the trailer to come out and see what's going on with it. It was a good experience working on that.
It was one of my, and he knows this, and Roy Kinnerum, who's the co-director and effects aficionado, who I've been friends with and loved for so long. He brought me into the project. I get to play Angela the Witch. Mm-hmm. And the movie, the story, the cast, the crew, Michael Sue, the DP, everyone created something so marvelous and fascinating. And I think it's hilarious and it keeps you, it moves. It's one of those movies that I am so proud of, and I had the best time on set. So I'm really thrilled for audiences to see it because it's one of those movies that will definitely take everyone by storm. It's great.
That's awesome. Do you know when it's supposed to come out?
That I don't know.
Wow.
But hopefully soon. They're working on it now. We just finished it, in a few months ago.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah, the movies that we do or Chris does, it takes like 6 months total. Like,
yeah, I make movies with Sean Donahue's running Temporary Screens.
I love Sean.
So me and him have been making movies since 2010, and we just released our last movie, Zed's Dead, which is kind of a Pulp Fiction spin-off of the pawn shop owners in Pulp Fiction, like about their lives. And we also did a movie before that called Naked Cannibal Campers, and we're doing a sequel to that one in December. So we got a lot of stuff going on. But it's exciting, creating and making movies. And we made Naked Cannibal Campers through the pandemic, and we started. Basically, we were talking on the phone, and he was like, I got an idea for a movie. And from the time we hung up the phone, 90 days later, we had a Blu-ray in our hand. So 3 months. We completed the whole movie and had it edited and released and everything. So
That's amazing.
that's how we do it.
I think because there was nothing else going on.
Yeah, there was literally nothing.
You couldn't
else
go
going on.
anywhere.
We went full force on it.
Yeah, we went to a campground and we just shot it in 5 days.
Yeah, we shot in 5 days. It took me about a month to edit, a month to write the script. Like it was crazy.
Wow.
Quick turnaround.
You know, that's passion though.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I love about independent horror movies. You know, it's all about the creative drive, the energy. People
For
are
sure.
so excited by, you know, their love for the genre. And that's why we have conventions for horror movies. We don't have conventions for rom-coms or for dramas, you know.
Right. That's what I explained to people. It's like a cult, you know, like the horror community is a cult and everybody's super cool. And like I've never gone to a convention and met, you know, a celebrity that was not nice. Like, you know, you hear horror stories about some people here and there, but everybody in the horror community is so awesome and so supportive of each other. And we all collect, you know, action figures and movies and like we just.
Oh my God, I can show you my room right now.
Yeah, like, I got a huge toy room. Yeah, that's how I am. So it's so great to be a part of that and to have that just to hang on to, you know. So I know you probably get talked about to death, but Sleepaway Camp was your big movie when you were a child, and it became a cult classic, obviously. So I just watched it again Friday because we were having you on. I was like, let me revisit it.
I'm sorry.
No, it's a great movie as far as, you know, a cult movie goes.
It's a comedy. I think today it's a comedy.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And one of the things that I noticed, it was very, like, I don't think you can make a movie like that today. I mean, you were what, 13, 14? When you
I
made
was
that?
13.
13 years old. And there was a lot of, like, sexual stuff going on and, like
it was very, like, touchy-feely.
Yeah. Like, did you feel, like, uncomfortable making that movie, being that young?
No, because, you know, first of all, it was 1982 when we filmed.
Yeah,
so we were in a different climate in the world, in the way we viewed things. Certainly, filmmaking was completely different. We shot on 35 millimeter. That alone was, you know, it was amazing. We all looked great. But I think, you know, when we refer to parts of Sleepaway Camp that were so kind of like, whoa, politically incorrect or whatever, the chef who's talking about young girls, you know, is like mind blowing. But at the time, it really didn't seem that crazy. I'm sure it was. I wasn't privy to it because I was young. My little world at 13 going, oh, I'm going to camp. I have a crush on Jonathan Tiersten, who played my cousin, and all the girls were really like my best friends, and it felt like I was going to camp. So I wasn't really thinking about, wow, today spoiler alert, you know, I'm stabbing this one and I'm shoving the curling iron up this one. It just felt like a fun, even though it sounds crazy, it was like meatballs.
Yeah,
you know?
Sure. Oh yeah.
We all talked like this. The boys had short shorts, a lot of homoerotic undertones.
Yeah.
But I think the reason it has sustained its, let's say, kind of its place in horror is because there's a lot going on with Sleepaway Camp that meets the eye.
Yes.
I think when you first see it, it's like camp, killing, and a big baseball scene in the middle.
Right.
But then upon
a big baseball scene.
Rewatch, what's that?
A big baseball scene. That one just dragged.
I say you wrote the beginning, the end.
We watched 9 innings.
Yeah, well, because I think I was watching the BTS and it said that he just needed more runtime. I think that's literally what it.
And we all do that stuff. You know,
I think that's
throw
what it was.
in a 5-minute shower scene.
We need more time. Kids just walking and eating cane bars and throwing water balloons. But I think at the end of the day, there's a lot more going on. And it's funny because last night I had dinner with the executive producer of the new documentary called Angela. And we're breaking down the whole film. And we were talking about how now that we're out of the, you know, COVID and we can travel and sit with Robert Hiltzik, the writer-director, we will deconstruct the entire movie in that we want to know, was he intentionally, you know, creating this story about Aunt Martha and all that went on with Angela intentionally, or did he just fall apart? I don't know. I really personally, I don't even know. So I can't wait to find out because I think going back to there's a lot more than meets the eye. When you watch it over and over again, you do see there's a lot that sort of makes sense in telling the story that leads to the very end. I'd like to know the prequel with Aunt Martha. May she rest in peace.
Yeah, she just passed away not too long ago, right?
Yeah, she recently, and that's heartbreaking to lose a member of. We're a big family, Sleepaway Camp.
Of course.
But I'd like to know her story. I'd love to see a prequel today.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That would be interesting.
So produce it. I'll direct it.
Let's do it. We can write it and direct it in Florida and make it happen.
Sounds awesome.
Oh yeah,
I'm always up for anything. So, so you weren't like uncomfortable like with the kissing scenes, and there was a scene where the kid was laying on top of you and unbuttoning your shirt, like all that stuff. I was just kind of like, wow, like it was very risque, and obviously it was a different time when it was made.
I was nervous about the kissing scene, and it's only because, again, I was 13. I have kids who are 12, 14, and 16, and the thought of them making a movie today where they'd have to passionately make out with a boy on the beach. And I was a new 13-year-old. I had just turned 13.
Oh, wow.
So I had probably kissed maybe one boy, and just like this, like a heck.
Yeah.
So I remember walking around the set asking people, how do I kiss? Do I use my tongue? Do I fake it? Acting? Like, what should I do? And then I spoke to Chris Collette, who's the nicest, who's just the sweetest person. He played Paul, my boyfriend. He said, yeah, we'll just wing it. And we just kind of did it. And it's when I watch it, I kind of go, I can't believe that. But
that's awesome.
That was the time in 1982.
For sure. It's so funny.
1982, a simpler time.
So you've been in a lot of movies over the years. What would you say is one of your favorite movies, like being on set and like the whole process?
Victor Crowley, Hatchet 4.
Nice.
Is definitely comes to mind because I have always been a huge Adam Green fan, and I feel like I manifested that because I watched him through the years. I loved Hatchet when it came out, and I could not I couldn't even. I was so shocked when I met him. I was freaking out. It was at a convention. I just kind of fangirled all over him. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm meeting you. This is like the most exciting thing ever. And then he emailed me and he invited me on his show, Scary Sleepover. And I legit ran around my house going, how can we have Scary Sleepover? Oh my gosh. My kids were like, what's going on? I'm like, I love Adam Green. I couldn't believe it. And then when he and I met, I imitated my manager, from New York, who got me into Sleepaway Camp. And she talked like this, she was like a real New York manager.
What are you talking about, eh? What are you talking about, eh?
What are you talking about? And he created my character in Victor Crowley as that manager agent to Perry Shen's character. And the wheels were turning when we were doing Scary Sleepover. So thank goodness that all happened, and it was the most wonderful time on set. I love the movie because I'm obsessed with the Hatchet series.
Right.
Yeah.
And I loved the cast. Tiffany Shepis and Dave Sheridan and Perry Shen and Hugh from Impractical Jokers, Crystal, Joy Brown, Laura Ortiz. The whole cast was amazing.
That's awesome.
So on Reddit, there's actually a group that says Victor Crowley should be actually one of the top killers, like a Jason or a Michael Myers, or in Reddit, there's a bunch of chat rooms.
You don't really hear much about Victor Crowley.
No, and people are trying to get him in a video game.
Icon.
They're trying to get him in Dead by Daylight, the video game. They're trying to get him a video game. Like there's a lot of calls for it, and I don't know why it's just not getting more mainstream. Yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts on why Victor Crowley didn't make it to the mainstream?
Well, certainly Kane Hodder, who portrays Victor Crowley, is one of our greatest.
Yes.
He's
Huge
one of my dear friends. I think his portrayal of Jason in the films that he does in the Friday the 13th franchise, as well as his portrayal of Victor Crowley, is so fantastic. I think Victor Crowley is one of the characters who is just about there, but I think it's so new, like Art the Clown from Terrifier.
Yeah, I was going to bring up Art the Clown is probably one of the newer,
most contemporary
characters. Like he makes me laugh.
See, I can't do clowns.
Love David Howard Thornton.
Just like his expressions, and
I can't do clowns at all.
He's so funny.
You can't?
I cannot. Like the only clowns I really was able to watch is the Clowns from Outer Space. That's the only movie I can deal with because they were just so humorous. Like I just laughed the entire movie. But Terrifier, I can't do it. I can't do the clown. Can't do the clown. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. If I ever have kids, no clowns whatsoever. I just can't do it. Clowns.
So you're going to be on Terrifier too?
Yes, yeah. I am. Another story where I fangirled over Damien Leone, who wrote and directed the first one. I freaked when I met he and David Howard Thornton, who portrays Art the Clown. Mm-hmm. The moment I met them at New Jersey HorrorCon, I was like, the little New York girl came out, oh my God, you don't understand, I love you. Oh my God. And they were like, who is this? But I'm a huge fan of horror movies, so when I do meet people, I do tend to get like mesmerized and flabbergasted. I just freak out. So when I met them, I was like, if you ever do a part 2, I'm your girl.
That's cool that you do that.
Like,
yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah.
So,
you're not just an actress; you're a fan. So it's
absolutely
really cool that
I
like
eat, sleep, and breathe it. It's like it is a world that, like we were saying earlier about conventions, it's a world that's so inclusive and caring. It's a community of truly people who take care of one another. It far exceeds just the making of horror movies or, iconic killers. Right. It's really a culture and a life.
It is,
I sometimes wonder, like, where would I be? Like when I take a step back, because I'm at conventions every single weekend. Mm-hmm. I don't know what my life would be if I didn't have this close-knit family. It's like a family reunion every weekend.
Yeah. Some
of my best friends I met at conventions, the people in my life that I see all the time, the actors, the directors, the friends that come and visit. It's all because of this entire universe. Right. And it's not the macabre. It's not dark. It's not creepy and crazy. What's on screen might be, which is amazing because we're exercising certain things that's exciting when we watch them.
Yeah.
But not in the life. The life is the polar opposite. It's the antithesis of that. It's a very caring, beautiful community.
Absolutely,
right.
absolutely.
It absolutely is.
It's when they finally meet someone, it's so exciting. It's like long lost friends because people like love the genre so much that it's just like, oh my god. And it's a lot different than like Comic Cons and like comic books. It's just a different. I think it's more relaxed. I think because it's like real people. Like in comics, it's like when you see people from Marvel, it's like ridiculous. But it's more intimate when you with these horror conventions.
Yeah, definitely.
The intimacy.
Sean's convention, Tampa Bay Screams.
Tampa Bay Screams, July 17th.
July 17th. You're on it.
Oh yeah.
But it's a really, it's small, but it's so awesome. Like he really brings in some really awesome guests. And what's cool about it is you could like the guests, they'll just sit there and talk to you for a half hour, and and they don't care, they don't mind. Sean was telling me he picked up the grandfather from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original one, the guy that played the grandfather.
Of course, yeah, Don Chugan.
Yeah, Don Chugan. Mm-hmm. So he picked him up and from the airport, and Don walks up to him and gives him a big hug. Like Sean's never met the man before in his life. Gives him this huge hug during COVID, and Sean's like, okay, I guess we don't care about COVID, whatever. And so he takes him to the hotel, and it's like 2:00 in the morning. And John's like, oh, you got to come up and have a beer with me. Come on and have a beer with me. So he goes upstairs with him, and they just talked and drank. And the guy was just an amazing person, to be around.
He's one of my dear friends because, like I said, we're like the modern day circus, and we travel together.
Right.
So we're all really, really, really close. We're a tight-knit family. And, I haven't seen John in a year, let's say, or what have you. But the minute I see him at another con, we pick up right where we left off, hug, kiss, drink, heart. We're all like just a happy group.
Yeah.
It's very joyful.
And people don't think that. Like when people like outside of the genre, like see horror cons or like a Tampa Bay Scream, they don't know how to react. Like outsiders, we try to invite them in, but we try to bring them in, but no. It's difficult to bring in new people, but the people that we have it is exactly family. It's like it's very.
Well, I think you'd have to really love these movies and appreciate the art, the craft, that goes into making it. So it's so hard. I mean, I live in LA, but I live in a little small suburban area. So, my neighbors are like, you make what? You make horror movies? What? And they don't really understand. And I don't try, unless you're really passionate about it, it's hard to kind of
course,
like you said, bring someone in. I try, and they're certainly like, wow, I'd be interested, but it's not something you can just push on someone.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like the people that aren't in it, like a lot of people get turned off by it. I know when I'm trying to find a location for a movie, I'll talk to the people and they ask me what kind of movie it is. I always say it's a thriller. And I'll never say it's horror because sometimes it turns them off and you're not going to get the location. So I always say it's a thriller,
during COVID, I was producing a movie called Time's Up in Maine. So I'm producing from Los Angeles with my producing partners, Damien Maffei and Ryan James. And I'm calling like, okay, we needed so many locations, gymnasium, see a movie theater, like a lot of different locations. So I sent someone to scout, and they were telling the head of this gym, it's this crazy murder slasher, and I'm like, no, you can't go in saying that, because then they also imagine blood everywhere
and everything.
Oh yeah.
So it's funny. I have a movie I'm trying to put together called The Cheerleader Sleepover Slaughter, and I'm trying to find a locker room, and it was the hardest location I've ever tried to find. And I went to this place trying to get it, and the guy asked me, what kind of movie is it, or what's it about? And I said, it's called Cheerleader Dreams, and it's about a girl that gets bullied by the other cheerleaders, but then she perseveres in the end, which wasn't a lie, but I didn't go into the delivery. Yeah, she actually kills everybody.
People stabbing each other.
She kills everybody. So she perseveres by cutting everybody's head off. So, but
that's how you persevere. That's you get ahead above the competition.
Right.
Head above the competition.
So, oh my God, that's a good tagline. Ahead of the competition.
So sometimes you gotta stretch the truth a little bit to get what you need to get.
Absolutely.
And,
it's true, because people if they're not a fan of these types of films, they're a little bit taken aback, like, what? But we're all very passionate about it here in my family.
Yeah.
That's how I met my husband. My husband was a huge Sleepaway Camp fan, and he had a band, and he put my face on his guitar. And then
that's dedication.
CD, very dedicated.
Well, before he met you?
Jackass, and he put my Angela face on his T-shirt on the first episode of Jackass. And he's in a band called CKY, and he was like playing guitar.
He did all that before he met you?
Before he met me.
Oh, wow.
So that was fake.
So how did he finally stalk you? I mean, run into you?
Yeah, correct. We call him the lazy stalker because he wasn't quite like aggressive, like, right. He had his manager just kind of like go to a website, a Sleepaway Camp website, and the manager said, Darren Miller is really in love with Sleepaway Camp, and he'd love to meet Felissa. And for years, I was kind of like, oh, that's cool, okay. And then we were filming Return to Sleepaway Camp in 2003.
Yeah.
So we're going on, quite it's like how many years? Like 18 years.
Yeah,
and he came to set. I invited him to set. I was like, oh yeah. And then as soon as we met, we were like, oh, let's get married.
Oh, that's awesome.
So three kids
awesome.
Later. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't even have a relationship for 6 months, let alone 18 years.
Yeah.
So I could not imagine.
It's the movies that keep us together.
That's funny.
Oh,
How do you feel about the Sleepaway sequels?
Oh, I love them.
You love them?
I love. I'm crazy about Pamela Springsteen. I'm a huge fan. I would do anything to meet her. That would be so incredible. I think they were perfect, especially late '80s. We got more into dark comedy.
Yeah.
So certainly they're perfect for the time of that kind of humor.
What was your favorite kill? What was your favorite kill?
Oh, the bathroom, the shit, the outhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that
With
was
the leeches.
yeah.
I like the bee.
It's
I
so
like the bee
gross.
scene. I like the bee scene.
The beast.
Right?
Oh, the
There's
bees.
A lot of
Oh, yeah.
boobs in those movies. We were talking about it last night. The Shit Sisters. There's a lot of boobs.
Yeah, that's what we were talking
Oh.
about today. I was like, "There's no nudity in Sleepaway Camp other than the guys' butts." Yeah, the guys' butts.
There's one little.
Oh yeah, well, obviously the end.
One
Wow.
little.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know if you know this, but it gave me a whole career because I'm on Joe Bob's
Drive-In,
show called The Last Drive-In on Shudder.
Right.
I'm their mangled dick expert.
Nice.
I did not know that.
That's so funny.
That's
Oh yeah.
nuts.
It gave me-
Oh, I see it.
I love.
I
Joe
see. You're
Bob.
actually credited as the mangled dick expert on IMDb.
I'm a recurring character on the show. I'm the mangled dick
Do you
expert.
think
They
that
call me
movie? Do you think that movie would have had the following as it does if it didn't have that end scene?
No.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
No.
It's pretty
I
crazy.
It would have. It reminds me so much of The Burning.
Yeah, for sure.
I've watched The Burning, or rather, let's say I've seen it a million times, but I've walked in on with my husband watching it, and I thought, wait, is this Sleepaway Camp? Some of the
That's funny. Most women walk in on their husband watching porn. You walk in on him watching The Burning.
What are you doing?
Sounds like a
you're
good
watching.
dude.
Why are you watching with me? Damn you motherfucker! I had to get my cursing in.
There you go. We have a quota.
I think Sleepaway Camp. It's not. It's definitely a fun '80s slasher movie, but because the ending is so shocking,
so bizarre, and it's one of the weirdest
stays with
endings
you.
ever.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
oh, absolutely. One of the funniest things I've seen.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. One of the funniest things I've seen was I saw a light switch. And it was Angela Baker, and the switch was the penis, and I thought that was like the funniest.
Oh, cut now.
I know. I always say you can turn me on and off. You know?
Well, there you go. What a flick of a
That little
switch.
that
Flick of
little
a switch.
Have you ever had any aspirations of directing a movie?
That's so interesting you say that because I'm producing a film right now with the same team that I love, Damien Maffei, who was in The Strangers Pray at Night and The New Wrong Turn, and he's the devil in Haunt.
Yep.
He's one of my producing partners along with our other buddy Ryan James, and we're producing a film called The Events Surrounding a Peeping Tom, which is very much like Polanski's The Tenant.
Nice.
It's like low burn thriller. The script is so incredibly fascinating, and with the lead character played by Damien, and it's directed by Hannah Thierman. And we really wanted a female director. So obviously in talking about it, they were like, do you ever? No. I feel like I don't know. I'm not there yet. I should never say no about anything because I would never think I would produce. And I love producing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Acting and producing are my two favorite things in the world. But definitely directing is a whole other animal.
Right.
And I can't wait to watch what Hannah Thierman, she's from VHS, what she brings to the table.
Mm-hmm.
It will be so lovely to work with a female director and, her vision with this kind of material, a peeping Tom. I am acting in the film. I love my character. So we'll see, what life brings. I'm doing a comic book. So that will be launched probably late fall.
What's the comic about?
It's kind of camp. And I might be running a camp.
Oh,
and there's all kinds of fun characters, maybe monsters.
That's cool. I'll tell you, I tell you, our Naked Cannibal Campers movie got turned into a comic book. Actually, it just went to the printer. We should have it in a couple weeks, and it's just the coolest. Like, it's just the coolest thing, like having your movie as a comic book, and it's just the neatest thing. And my son's in the movie, and so he's in and he's a comic book freak, and like he works in a comic book store also. So he being in the comic book, him being in the comic is just like so neat. But it's such a neat thing, and it just happened by dumb luck. Like I had my other son. We were at a comic book store, and this guy walked in, and he had a comic book. He was trying to see if the store would carry it. So I asked him. I said, "Hey, do you make comic books?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm a comic artist, and this is my comic book." And I was like, "Man, I got all these movies. I would love to make one into a comic book." So we started talking, and now it's coming out. Like, it's just the coolest thing too. So congratulations on that. It's so neat.
Thank you. It's called Lake of Thorns, and I love the team around it. I just feel like you never know, like with what you're saying, how things sort of metamorphosize into from one part of the entertainment creative process into another.
Yeah.
And that's how I liked. That's why I was telling you I have a podcast with Kane Hodder and Tiffany Shepis called Casualty Friday, and we just shoot the shit.
Oh yeah.
From the perspective of three actors, we take our masks off, so to speak, and we just lay it all out there. And we learn things about each other, being three really dear friends in the genre, to what our daily lives are like, how we feel about auditions, how we feel about people, convention, horror movies.
So do you still have to audition? Like, I feel like people just call you and say, "Hey, we want you to be in our movie," and you say, "Okay." Like, do you actually have to go through an audition process?
I think at this point, fortunately, I've been so lucky and grateful to work with amazing directors, and it's just happened naturally. So I have recently, been asked, "Oh, can you send in a video?" I just did a Lifetime movie, and I did a self-tape audition. I think sometimes it's more with network or with more mainstream stuff.
Yeah. Well, like the horror stuff, you obviously don't have to audition, right?
I'm happy to. If people, would like to see, I love all areas of this.
So did Joe Davison ask you for a tape?
What's that?
Did Joe Davison for Sorority of the Damned did he ask you for a tape, or did you just?
Fortunately, he did not, because I'm super close with Roy. Right. I've been working, I've known Roy. I did a movie called Garlic and Gunpowder where Roy created, I played a 500-pound mob boss. So that entailed a lot of character work.
Yeah.
Right.
I think you saw my process. I love acting. I'm always learning. I've been fortunate to work with some great people who I just look up to, like those Phil Mosley or, Vernon Wells, Sean Whalen, Danielle Harris. So it's been I've been fortunate where I've been surrounded by so many great people that I've learned some, some wonderful parts of the craft. Yeah.
So how do you find these projects, for producing or acting? Do people just like ring you or your manager, or just whenever they have a project with you in mind, or do you find specifically some of these projects?
It's all different. It's like a lot of it has to do with networking. Like I'm friends with a bunch of directors like Harrison Smith, who directed me in movies like Camp Dread, that I had a wonderful experience. We did Zombie Killers together. We did Garlic and Gunpowder together. Or Thomas Churchill, I did Big Freaking Rat with him. You kind of just are in this pot of collaborative good friends. That's how Damien and I have known each other since New York, when we both lived on Long Island like 25 years ago. And he called me and said, "Hey, I'm making this movie, Time's Up. It's a slasher, and what do you think?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I want to work on it." He's like, "Do you want to produce? Do you want to act?" I'm like, "I want to do it all." And he's like, "All right." So it happens like that. It's just that I try to live my personal life and my professional life in a very natural flow. Like, whatever happens, I kind of love to just go with it and just do things that are happy.
Right. Oh yeah. Well, it's something that we are a big promotion with. Like, whatever we get involved in, we just dive right in, like whatever movie. Like whenever he's doing the movie, I just feel like, what can I do? What do you want me to do? What can I do? Can I jump into it? Do you want me to do
Tony and Naked Cannibal Cameras, he acted, did slate, like he did like everything.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a $3,500 budget, so it was like.
So I had to do everything. No.
So we just everybody just kind of pitches in and does this and that, and it's fun.
Yeah,
it's a good time.
That's how I feel. Like I showed up on the set of Time's Up. The first thing I did was I went to 7-Eleven and got crafty stuff, and I'm moving lights, and I mean that's the beauty of independent filmmaking. And I do believe, especially if I want to be a producer, my whole mindset was know every area, every aspect.
Absolutely.
So I've done hair and makeup, I've done special effects, I've been a grip, I've been, a location scout. Whatever is needed, slate, I want to do.
Oh yeah.
Because we eat, sleep, and breathe it. It's in our blood. If you really love this, you really love it.
Oh yeah.
Like my kids don't like it.
Oh.
I was fortunate enough to produce Slayer, the metal band, their last 3 videos off their Repentless album.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
And
Sean's a huge Slayer fan.
What's that?
I said Sean is a huge Slayer fan, like the biggest Slayer fan. Like I think he's seen him at concert like 15 times or something, and he's traveled to see him. Yeah.
To watch the videos.
That's great.
Wow.
They're wild. It's a trilogy, the Killogy, the Slayer.
The Killogy. I like that.
It was so fun. They were like movies. That's how cool. I really got the job to produce them, because I said, let's make a horror movie, and I'll bring in all my friends like Tyler Mane and Danny Trejo and Derek Mears, Vernon Wells, Sean Whalen, like all my friends came out and we made these movies. And Bill Moseley and Caroline Williams play the parents in the second one, and I'm like, I need kids. And I pulled my 2 little girls at the time. They were like, I don't know, 7 and 9. And I'm like, come on, you have to be in this. You have to scream and get bloody. But you'll thank me because Danny Trejo is going to kill you. And they were like, okay. And now like they're older and they're like, Mom, I just saw Danny Trejo in, this TV series or that commercial.
He's everywhere. Danny Trejo.
Like, I told ya.
Yeah.
That's why both my kids one's 25 and the other one's going to be 19 next month. And one of them they're both actually decent actors. My youngest is a really good actor, but he's just not interested. But they're both, big horror fans. And, I used to introduce them to horror at a very young age, probably a little too young. But, and it's funny because when I was making a movie called The Housewife Slasher, and
that's the best time.
We had a nude scene, and my son was like 12 years old at the time, and he was always helping on our movies, moving lights and whatever. And so, I'm directing, I'm in the flow, and not realizing that he's like in the room, and I'm driving him home. I drop him off, and I'm driving back home, and I'm like, that might be the first live naked woman that he's ever seen. Like, does that make me a bad dad?
No.
And there's like, everybody's like, no, you're an awesome dad, So I don't think it scarred him. He's a really good kid, and he just graduated college.
You're exceptional. So. I had a conversation with my 16-year-old daughter yesterday. She was like, wanted to do something, and she's like, but and everybody's doing that, which is a term that I don't particularly like, because I always think you should think outside the box and do what makes your heart feel good and follow your own path and flow. And I was telling her that, look, your life has been different,
Of course.
My husband's a musician, I'm an actress, and we never had like a conventional 9 to 5. I come home in a bikini bloody, and he's off the tour, like hasn't slept in a month. And I believe like what you have shown your child is live with an open heart, live passionately, follow your dreams. And that's a beautiful thing for any person, I think, to hear or see or understand when they're young and impressionable.
Sure. Yeah.
As long as you're happy and you're not hurting anyone, enjoy life. And
I've always been like that.
Great.
Just let them.
Yeah.
I give them advice and guidance, but they ultimately make their own path. And my son went to college and he went, I never pushed religious beliefs on him, and he went to church by
I'm the same
himself
way.
and, went through communion and confirmation and all that stuff by himself. Like, I went there and supported him, but
Wow.
I never told him, hey, you need to do this. It was all on his own. And then my other son is the same way. Like, I tell him advice, and he's one of those kids that needs to see it and figure it out on his own. And he just figured out, hey, this is what I want to do for a job after being graduated for a year. And I'm like,
that's amazing.
Cool, do it, man. Do it.
I was saying, it's funny. I was doing my communion and confirmation around Sleepaway Camp.
Oh, boy.
I was in Catholic school. The nuns were like, "What are you doing? What's happening?"
Yeah, I just stabbed someone today. I'm sorry, what?
I Mr. Marine. I just got back from but the truth is, I do believe kids find their own. I never push anything. I help navigate. I threw ideas out there. I try to be very open and understanding, especially teenagers.
Yeah.
They have a lot of questions, a lot of wants, a lot of needs, even more so than when they're babies.
Yeah. Right, for sure.
It's challenging now.
Oh, it's so challenging.
Oh yeah. The world has evolved from, like I said, when we were teens. It's totally different. Like, what they're gonna get exposed to today, they can just look on their phone and see
find everything.
Yeah, like someone getting killed in locally. Like they don't the quickness of media and how they find out things
Just
and learn
information
things.
in general.
It's just exactly.
It's funny because I tell my kids, I'm like, when I was a kid, if we didn't know the answer to something, we just walked around not knowing the answer, or we had to go find an encyclopedia and look it up, or a dictionary. Yeah. And now, I mean, you can. I'm like, everybody should be a genius.
We didn't have a camera following us, and we didn't have a spotlight in a social setting where all friends. I mean, my girls were like, "Oh, we're at the mall, and so is blah 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 blah." I'm like, "Wait, what?" Oh yeah, everybody has everyone's location.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's crazy.
Wow, I don't know that I could have survived as a young person. I was very insecure, young teenager, and I think that would have just really.
It's funny because I look back and I'm like, how the hell did we survive? Back in the day when you were going somewhere, it was like, all right, I need directions to your house, and you'd have to write the directions, and then you'd get lost.
The directions, or if you had I'm really
buy a map.
Like aging myself. I had a dime, and I would put it in the payphone. Got dropped off at the roller rink, and that was your life.
Right,
it
was.
Hi, Mom, I'm ready to get picked up. Hi, Mom, literally,
right.
It was definitely crazy. Like the payphones, like people don't know what a payphone is. These kids, like every once in a while you'll see some around,
like
but
an artifact.
Yeah, like, what is that? Oh, and they take a picture of it with their iPhone, like
yeah.
I was like, what is that, Dad? That's what we used to call a payphone, son.
Crazy. You guys are awesome.
The information technology nowadays has just been like I don't have any kids now, but I can't imagine what if I do, and as teens, I could not imagine how quickly they're going to get information. They're going to know more than me at 7.
That's why I tell my kid, I'm like, everybody should be a genius because you can find the answer to anything in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
But they spend their time, watching people fall down on YouTube
and TikTok.
It's like, oh my god.
Or eating really fast.
Yeah. Like some of the craziest stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like, why don't you open your presents? Why are you watching somebody else open their presents?
Yeah, I know. Like, they got kids now that they open toys and play with the toy, and they get 10 million views, and these kids are making $100,000 a year opening toys. It blows my mind.
Like
unboxing. And I can't get anybody to watch my movie trailer, but some kid, some kid can get 100,000 views opening a toy.
Yeah, so. These unboxing videos are getting so many hits. It's ridiculous. I don't get it. I don't get it. I was opening boxes, but we did it with Polaroids. My mom took a picture of a Polaroid and then put it down, and then we had one other picture for the entire day. Here they have Instagram, and they're posting everything, and TikToks. Oh man,
that's crazy.
So, with the way that social media works now, how has it changed how you reach your audience? How do you get more involved on your social medias? To like, do you speak with a lot of fans on your social medias?
I do love my social media. I'm a huge Instagram person. I love Instagram, and more so because I love the idea of telling your life story through photos.
Yes.
I love pictures. And I love watching other people, and see the excitement they have in their lives. Like, oh, we went to the zoo, or we took this trip. And it's good for my family's on the East Coast. So I love that we can interact, in that way. I love Twitter. I'm on Facebook a little bit, but that's all I really do. And I do feel like it's a wonderful way to engage and to talk about Tampa Bay Screams is coming up, or I'll be in Columbus, Ohio this weekend at the Grandview Theater. I'll be at Houston Film Festival. I'm going through so I get to post where I'll be, so I can meet up with friends, and I can, we're doing screenings of Sleepaway Camp all summer at so many different events. So it's just nice to engage that way. I do appreciate social media because of that. I think it's difficult on young people just in the scrutinizing how this one looks or dances or that aspect, but I love it for my friends where we could say, oh, let's meet up here, and oh, you were there, so that's fun.
Do you guys ever do sleepaway camp reunions at like a convention where like
sometimes,
a lot of the cast goes together?
We do. We have a couple coming up, and I'm super close, like I said, with the cast: Jonathan Tiersten, Kathy Conley, Karen Fields, John Dunn, Tom Vandell. We're all a nice little group, and we get to meet up at the convention.
You know what sucks though? There's not a lot of sleepaway camp merchandise. Like I'm a big I collect like horror toys and stuff.
Terrorthreads.com has all your sleepaway camp apparel.
They got T-shirts and stuff. I'm talking like action figures and stuff like that.
I know.
There's not many out.
But it's funny because so many people have made. Look at these things I have in my. Cool. They've made like the coolest. I have this figure. Look at me. It's like right here.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Isn't that hilarious?
Somebody made that for you?
Somebody made 100 of them, and they bring them to conventions. And someone bought it for me.
That's incredible.
And gave it to me.
Wow.
So I have it on my dressing table.
That's one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
It's and I appreciate all of it. So I do keep it close to me in my room. Like I said, my husband is such a lover of Sleepaway Camp that anytime I come home and I have a new print, like a new poster or a new fun little toy or what have you, the light switch, they gave some to me. He just loves it. So it's really cool.
That's awesome. Because I was looking for something, because I'm going to be at Tampa Bay Screams, and I was going to have you sign something for me, but I can't find any action figures or anything like that. And I'm not a poster person because I have like no room on my walls to hang anything. So
this is called clayguy.com.
Clay Guy? I'll have to write that down.
Clayguy.com. So if I have nothing to do with it, so it's not like this is just an incredible artist who created this, and I appreciate it so much because anyone who's taking the time and putting their talent into making something like this, it does bring me sometimes to tears because I'm overwhelmed by how Sleepaway Camp has grown over the years. It's just heart is overjoyed.
Yeah, it's cool.
Could you imagine, like, back in 1982 and 1983, could you imagine the fandom that, like, while making the movie, do you, like how the hell did this movie become so popular? do you ever think that? Like, word? And then it launched your career.
Not to get, like, too sappy on you, I think about it a lot. I mean, and I've said a lot of times, Sleepaway Camp has been the fabric of my life. It gave me a personal life. It gave me a professional life. One movie that I filmed at 13 years old completely runs my existence, and I couldn't be more grateful for it. Honestly, every day I'm like, just thanking my lucky stars for this movie to have come into my life.
And it's amazing how some movies hit and some don't, and it's like, why? It's just such a strange thing.
Phenomenon.
You just never know what's going to hit, and
you never know. Nope. Like Terrifier, or even Hatchet when Hatchet came out, or Scream, or you never know why an audience, tends to
Right.
focus on certain films, and I've seen films that I love that have never gotten any
Never
attention,
gotten
and
anything.
I'm surprised by it.
I don't know. I don't know how like that people just latch on to certain things. Like
Yeah.
with Scream, it was brought on because like it was bringing back the slasher genre. Like like the
Yes.
90s had no slashers. Like
God,
it
I
was
remember Scream. I went to the theater with my buddy, and we were sitting there. And after that opening Drew Barrymore scene, I looked at my friend. I was like, "Holy shit, that
We were
was
like,
we're in for a
what just
ride."
happened?
because we hadn't seen anything in so long. Because the horror genre just went away for so long, and then he literally
And then
brought it back
Not
with
only
one
was it
scene.
back, but it was bigger than
Oh,
ever.
and
Yeah.
Look at the theaters right now. Quiet Place 2, Conjuring.
Right.
We take over.
That's what I tried
You
telling
know,
people.
it's-
Any horror movie that comes out, #1 at the box office that week.
Yeah.
Or maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Happy Death Day.
Look at
came
us.
out.
We're like,
bam.
we're pretty amazing.
Exactly.
We
We are
got
pretty
this.
amazing.
We got this.
Give me money so I can make a movie.
Yeah. So it's like I just love how our genre is just how it affects people. Like I like a lot of horror movies are just comedy to me. Like and then I just look at like how did they do that, and I try to figure out how they did that.
Right.
Like that's how I feel. A lot of people like the casual viewer. They're just in there for or just there for a date or whatever. They're not like real fans, but like for us, it's like an art. It's an art for us. Like we want to know how they did it. We want to figure out how they did it, and like we want to find more about the actors, and like we want to dive deep into it. Like casual,
Yeah, we
not so
do.
much.
Yeah.
That's why we love Joe Bob, because he was the predecessor to IMDb.
Right.
He knew all of the info. When we watch The Last Drive-In, I'm always just blown away by the amounts of information that he conveys in one sitting.
Right.
His commentary is so detailed and wonderful. Every actor, every location, what the writer was thinking, what the story meant, the original thought process. He just brings it all to life, and that's what we, as the creators, as the fans of these movies, that's what we love.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I get so excited when I see a new movie coming out, like a horror movie.
He does.
Like I'm so
He really
excited. Like
does.
Netflix has a trilogy called Fear Street, by R.L. Stine, the guy that did Goosebumps.
Yeah.
And he's got a trilogy coming out. It's an adult movie, but it's 3 movies that they're releasing one a week, and it looks so awesome. I'm so excited for it. It's like I think it's the beginning of July. I think it's the beginning of July, and it looks so good. But I get so like excited when I'm going to the theater to see a horror movie. I just get so excited, and when I can take my kids with me, it's just even added excitement. But
yeah, we try to find different ways to like excite us. Like with horror movies, like how are they going to scare me? Like what's going to scare me, or what are they going to bring new to the table? Like that's what we look for. And it's like I said, it's just you can't match that feeling when the first time you get scared again. Like you think you've seen it all, and then
and then you watch Hereditary, and you're just like, oh, that movie was so crazy. Me and Shaw walked out of the theater. I was like, I don't think I could ever watch that movie again because it was so disturbing and out there. Like I felt.
I hate to say
different.
that the film I'm doing, The Events Surrounding Keeping Tom, has a little Hereditary thing.
Yeah.
Nice. When's that? When are you doing that?
We start filming that in August.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
When's the last time you actually truly got scared watching a movie?
I would have to say maybe there are 2 movies that are just clicking in my head right now. Funny Games, the remake of Funny Games with Naomi Watts.
Yeah. I just watched that a couple months ago for probably the 3rd time.
It's pretty brutal.
Pretty brutal movie.
I'm a home invasion nut.
Yeah.
Like I love all the subgenres, and the strangers in the master shot in the original film when she's in the kitchen. Again, nothing like brutal, nothing bloody, nothing, but the idea of someone lurking outside is bone chilling to me. And I think it's because a man running after me with a machete or whatever it is, isn't really true to life. But someone in the dark outside your fucking house is true.
Right.
And that to me is the scariest.
It is.
So those moments in film that are captivated, that are more realistic, are, I think, like, they just, they scare the shit out of me. I love Eli Roth's Hostel. So that was
I like
kind
the
of,
Hostel movies
I
too.
can't watch that torture porn stuff. I cannot watch. I don't know. I
love it.
I like it freaks me out because I like to travel a lot, and like I don't like putting that stuff in my head. It just drives me nuts. But like I love horror, but like when I feel like it's so real, because there was actually a documentary about how, well, actually the director or writer wrote it about like almost like true events. Like he based that on true events that he has like read about in those countries. So like I just, anything real like that, I'm not. No.
When I was
And
like
that's the
8 or
thing,
9.
it's the dual, for me, it's like the dual component where it's like real and so
Yeah.
incredibly, I mean, the torture in that movie.
Yeah.
It's like Saw is torture,
Yeah.
and it's so creative and genius in the way it's
Yes.
woven.
Right.
But it's not the realistic factor that Hostel. That is true.
Yeah.
I mean, you could
It could happen.
wind
And
up in a
probably
basement
does.
tied up for.
Yeah.
And probably
Yeah, absolutely. Like specifically with Saw, like I generally don't care who dies. I just like to watch how they died. There's no like build up in their story, but I think that movie should have been, or the Saw series should have been more about like of Jigsaw. Should have been more of like a movie about him and how he's putting these together, like not just flashbacks, and not like, I think the movie should primarily have been about him, like, coming through his cancer and doing that. Okay, well, I'm going to teach people a lesson. Like, that should have been the movie, not the whole cop side of the story. I think it should have been how it was his triumphant
Are you
story.
saying that you should have made Saw different?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Dude, that movie was brilliant.
Well, a lot of people don't. Like I said,
this
those
guy's dead in the middle of the floor the whole movie.
Yeah.
And, like, just gets up and walks out. You're kind of like, mind is blown.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with that, yeah. I mean, that one you can't really change. But I'm saying the story behind the rest of them, like it should have been more about Jigsaw's, like, where he came up, not just the beginning. The first one's brilliant. The first one was brilliant, but then it should have been, the story should have been about him and not like the cops and investigating. I think it should have been like how he's hunting these people, how he's researching these people, how he's like, and then it should have been more like he's the hero of the story, not the. Like he's the.
I think me and Felissa are gonna go ahead and disagree.
Yeah, we're like, tell us.
No.
Actually, one of the movies when I was a kid, I was like, had to have been like 8 or 9 years old. I watched Black Christmas with my dad.
Oh, I have the poster right
That
here.
movie scared the living shit out of me for like a year. I couldn't like sleep properly because I was so scared. And then over the years, I've watched it, God, millions of times, and it's another movie that doesn't really get the recognition
The love,
of Halloween and Friday the 13th and all that.
I agree with that. I also
Actually, the
love,
remake was okay.
The remake was,
the second one. And then the last one they just
remake,
did was a piece of shit. Like, I hated that movie so bad. Did you see the new one?
The
new Black Christmas? Yeah.
Yeah.
It came out last year. I was mad.
I used to say I wasn't a fan of remakes, and then somebody said something really interesting to me, like, but think about it, it sort of puts the spotlight on the front of the original for a new generation. I thought, well, that's a really wonderful way to look at it.
Right.
And if it sort of brings back the older films, let's do it.
Right.
Yeah,
like the 1974 version, I like that you don't even know who the hell that person is. Like, he's just some mystery. Like, really all you see of him is an eyeball. Like, you don't see anything else of him. And they really don't give you a backstory or anything. It's just some guy in a sorority house being weird and killing all the girls.
Yeah.
And then the second one, they kind of, developed the villain's character and stuff, which I didn't mind. I thought it was okay. But the original is like, it's so good to me. Like, it's one of my top 5.
It is. It's movies. It's a staple in my house. Like The Burning. It's always on.
Yeah, The Burning's a good one.
I've always been a fan of the Halloween series, like the Halloween one.
Halloween
1.
Yeah. My husband's obsessed with Halloween.
Yeah.
And Friday the 13th, but Halloween in particular, he's in love. Jamie Lee Curtis is the first love.
Oh, of course. That's all of our first
I'm
love.
the second. So I couldn't get to her.
Are you a close second?
Off her. The Sleepaway Camp chick had to do.
That's funny.
I understand.
That's incredible.
I'm just
Oh,
thrilled to be in any kind of company like that. I was
Yeah,
like,
oh yeah,
really?
oh yeah.
This is
For sure,
awesome.
for
Scream
sure.
I
Queen.
love her too. Let's try to meet her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my favorite's Halloween, the original.
Yeah,
and then I
original.
think as a series, I think the Friday the 13th is my favorite
Yeah.
series franchise. But I hear Halloween Kills is supposed to be freaking brutal and violent and like pretty crazy. So I enjoyed the last one. I thought it was pretty good.
Chris and I disagree on this, but during the Halloween series, which one do you is your favorite, and which one's the worst in your opinion in Halloween?
You say, oh, I can't say that. I mean, I always love the original. I'll leave it
Yes.
at that. But
Okay.
I know how people feel about Season of the Witch, and you know,
Season of the Witch is a great
we
movie.
actually like that movie. Like Season of the Witch, we liked it.
I love it.
As a standalone,
Love
it's great. As a standalone
I
movie,
love it. I have too many friends in all the other, you know,
yeah,
all
circle.
the other
Well,
schools that
No, you're right, but there's a whole there's so many groups that really love that movie. Like it's one of those another
I
cult
love
classics that
I love
It's a
it.
great movie.
because that was the original thought process behind when Carpenter and they really wanted to do like
Like just a series of
Yeah.
movies that took place on Halloween.
yeah, it was never supposed to be just
And,
about Michael Myers. It was supposed to be Michael Myers
Right.
and then something else in Halloween
Right.
too, like someone else and some
called
other
And
thing.
it's
Halloween.
funny.
It's not called
Yeah, it's funny because I went with my buddies and I was so excited. Halloween 3, I'm a big Michael Myers fan, and we get to the theater and we're watching the movie, and I'm like, "Where's Michael Myers at? Like, what's going on?"
Wait, he
and-
was in the movie. He was
And I
in the
kind of
movie.
was upset about it, but then like down the road, I realized that that's a really, really good movie.
Yeah.
And
very smart,
very
Yeah.
creepy and
great
yeah.
filmmaker.
I think that song was in my head for like
Oh my god!
Ever.
The Shamrock,
Oh my
Silver
God.
Shamrock.
Absolutely.
Well, it's a great movie.
Oh, okay. With Friday the 13th, but we were talking about that too. We have favorites and we have not so much favorites. I love the Kane Hodder. I love all of
CJ
them.
Brown.
Yes. Now, how do you feel about that remake?
Again, you know, I feel like anything that sort of continues the installments and the love of these movies that we have, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I want to continue the legacy. I want to continue to be excited, like you said, get my popcorn and go sit down like the teenager that I was when I was watching these movies and relive. And
It's
that's
nostalgic
another
to
thing
us.
about the movies. They're sentimental
Yes.
for us.
Right.
Where we went to sleepovers and we watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Right.
We watched Nightmare on Elm Street. So that's what we're also reliving, that innocent time, that remembrance of my friends getting together and getting candy and going to Blockbuster.
Yeah.
It's funny. It just like occurred to me, like, you know, people our age, it's nostalgic for us to see the remakes, and for the younger people, it's introductory. Like they're being introduced to Jason, where you know they probably didn't know who the hell that was. You know, Freddy Krueger and all the icons. So yeah, I don't mind the remakes, but I do like the fresh stuff that comes out also.
Oh yeah, let's have it all.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
people get all mad, you know, oh god, they're remaking this, and they get all mad. But I'm like, you're gonna go see it. You know, you're gonna go see it. So why are you so mad about it? You know, just go watch it, and enjoy it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, on that note, I want to thank everyone for joining us on Killer Collab Podcast. My name is Tone Deaf in Florida, Tony D, and Chris Lato behind me. And today we were joined with Felissa Rose. Felissa Rose, ladies and gentlemen. We want to thank you. Now, do you have anything you want to shout out? I know you said you had a podcast, movie coming out soon, or
you can check it out on all the platforms like iTunes and Spotify. Anything that's going on in terms of like conventions or new films coming out, I put all over Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and I just want to say I'm really grateful for anyone who loves these independent horror movies. Thank you, and I hope to meet you at a convention.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Killer Collab Podcast. Have a wonderful day.